I asked ChatGPT the most terrifying hypothetical question imaginable. What happens if we switch off Earth's gravity for just 1 minute? The answer it gave me was so catastrophic, so absolutely mind-bending, that it will change how you see every single object around you right now. And the worst part? Even 60 seconds would be enough to end civilization as we know it. If you want to discover what ChatGPT revealed about this ultimate disaster scenario and understand the invisible forces keeping you alive right now, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because what I am about to share will make you appreciate gravity in ways you never imagined. When I posed this question to ChatGPT, its response immediately made me realize how little most people understand about gravity. ChatGPT explained, "Gravity is not just what keeps your feet on the ground. It is the fundamental force holding together every atom of our planet, our atmosphere, our oceans, and even the shape of Earth itself." Then it delivered the shocking truth. If gravity disappeared for even 1 minute, the consequences would be irreversible and civilization ending within seconds. Let me walk you through exactly what ChatGPT described, because the sequence of events is more terrifying than any disaster movie ever created. ChatGPT explained that the moment gravity switches off, you would not immediately float upward like in the movies. Instead, something far more dramatic would happen, it told me. Since Earth rotates at approximately 1,040 miles per hour at the equator, when gravity disappears, you and every object on Earth would continue moving in a straight line at that speed. According to physics research from House, this means you would not float straight up. You would be flung sideways at over 1,000 miles per hour. ChatGPT described it perfectly. You would become a projectile moving horizontally at supersonic speeds, while simultaneously beginning to float away from Earth's surface. But that is just you. Every building, every car, every drop of water in the ocean, every molecule of air in the atmosphere. Everything would simultaneously become airborne projectiles, traveling at different speeds depending on their latitude. The devastation would be instant and absolute. Here's where ChatGPT's explanation became truly horrifying. It explained that Earth's entire atmosphere is held in place only by gravity. The moment gravity disappears, all 5.5 quadrillion tons of our atmosphere would begin dispersing into space, ChatGPT told me. Within seconds, the air pressure would begin dropping rapidly. Humans would experience decompression similar to explosive decompression in aircraft, but on a planetary scale. Research confirms this nightmare scenario. Without gravity, not only would the atmosphere begin escaping to space, but the rapid pressure changes would cause immediate breathing difficulties for every living thing on Earth. And this is still just the first 20 seconds? But ChatGPT's most shocking revelation was about Earth's oceans, it explained. All 1.4 billion cubic kilometers of ocean water would simultaneously become airborne, creating massive floating spheres of water drifting away from Earth's surface. I asked ChatGPT what this would look like, and its description was breathtaking and terrifying. Imagine every ocean, lake, and river on Earth suddenly forming giant floating bubbles of water, each one drifting in different directions while the ocean floors become exposed for the first time in millions of years. According to physics research, these massive water spheres would maintain their liquid form initially due to surface tension, but would quickly begin to freeze as they drift into the vacuum of space where atmospheric pressure no longer exists. Here comes the most mind-blowing part of ChatGPT's explanation. When I asked what happens to Earth itself, it revealed something I never considered. Gravity is not just an external force. It is what holds the planet together. Without it, Earth's internal structure would become unstable. ChatGPT explained that the immense pressure inside Earth's core exists only because gravity compresses all the rock and metal above it. The moment gravity disappears, that pressure would be released explosively. Research from physics institutes confirms this terrifying scenario, ChatGPT told me. Earth's molten core, no longer compressed by gravity, would likely expand rapidly, potentially causing the planet to break apart from the inside out. We are talking about the complete disintegration of our planet within minutes of gravity disappearing. I know, this is absolutely terrifying to imagine, But ChatGPT revealed even more shocking details about what happens when gravity returns after 60 seconds. If you want to understand the complete catastrophe and why even 1 minute would be too much, make sure you are subscribed because what comes next will haunt your nightmares. When I asked ChatGPT, what happens when gravity returns after 1 minute? Its response was even more horrifying than the initial disappearance, it explained. When gravity suddenly returns, everything that became airborne would crash back to Earth simultaneously, but not in the same places they started. Think about what this means. All those floating spheres of ocean water, now scattered across hundreds of miles of altitude and distance, would come crashing down like trillion-ton meteor impacts. Every building, vehicle, and piece of debris that got launched into the air would become a supersonic projectile slamming back to Earth. ChatGPT described it this way. The impact of gravity returning would be like experiencing millions of simultaneous natural disasters, tsunamis, earthquakes, hurricanes, and meteor impacts all happening at once, across the entire planet. But ChatGPT revealed an even more insidious problem. When I asked about the atmosphere returning, it explained. Much of Earth's atmosphere would have already begun dispersing into space during that minute. When gravity returns, the remaining atmosphere would compress rapidly, creating massive pressure waves and temperature changes. Research shows that this atmospheric compression would create planet-wide storms more powerful than any weather system in Earth's history. The temperature fluctuations alone would make the planet uninhabitable for any surviving life forms. ChatGPT also explained the geological consequences that I never would have considered, it told me. Earth's crust, temporarily unsupported by gravity, would have begun to crack and shift. When gravity returns, massive tectonic movements would occur simultaneously across all fault lines. We are talking about every earthquake zone on Earth triggering simultaneously, creating seismic activity so powerful it would reshape continents within hours. When I asked ChatGPT whether anything could survive this 1-minute gravity disappearance, its response was sobering. The combination of atmospheric loss, water displacement, projectile impacts, seismic activity, and temperature extremes would make survival impossible for complex life forms. Even if some humans manage to survive the initial chaos by being in protective environments, the planet they return to would be completely uninhabitable. No breathable atmosphere, no stable water sources, no intact ecosystems, and ongoing geological disasters. ChatGPT emphasized something crucial that made this scenario even more terrifying. This is not science fiction speculation. These are the inevitable physical consequences based on our understanding of gravity, physics, and planetary science. Every aspect of this catastrophe, from the atmospheric dispersion to the planetary disintegration, is supported by research from leading physics institutes and planetary science organizations. So what did ChatGPT reveal about switching off Earth's gravity for just 1 minute? It would be the most catastrophic event in the history of our planet, ending civilization within seconds and potentially destroying Earth itself within that single minute. But ChatGPT also gave me a profound perspective that changed how I see our daily lives. It said, understanding this scenario helps us appreciate that gravity is not just a force we take for granted. It is the invisible foundation that makes every moment of existence possible. Every breath you take, every step you walk, every drop of water you drink exists only because gravity holds our world together. We are living on a planet held in perfect balance by forces so fundamental that we never think about them. Are living on a planet held in perfect balance by forces so fundamental that we never think about them. On a planet held in perfect balance by forces so fundamental that we never think about them. Yet so critical that their absence for even 60 seconds would end everything. Are you ready to appreciate the invisible miracle that keeps you alive every moment of every day? The next time you feel your feet on the ground, remember that you are experiencing one of the most powerful forces in the universe. And without it, neither you nor anything you love would exist. If ChatGPT's terrifying revelation about gravity opened your eyes to the forces that sustain life itself, Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Share this with everyone you know because they need to understand how miraculous their existence really is. Check out my next video where I reveal what the first alien technology we discover will be. The answer will change everything you think about extraterrestrial life. Gravity holding you to your chair right now is not just a physical force. It is the difference between existence and annihilation. And every moment you remain on solid ground is a moment to appreciate the incredible forces that make life possible in our universe.